Welcome back to Doc Shows You How. Hey, you look familiar. You probably should subscribe. We're making that alien today. Let's get to the table. Follow up on building these blanks, we're going to do some writers. Hopefully you folks requested that, so we're going to do that. Let's take a look here. If we're going to modify up some things, we better get some things to modify up, right? So I have collected through my various bits bin some things to consider using here. Kind of the first kind of hurdle is, of course, what do you want to do for legs? So, like a guy like this, we could chop those legs off and modify to where it looks like they're sitting. It's kind of a nice little, like, sitting leg, right? Like, you could be on it like that. And the same thing with that other leg. It's not drastically different, even, like, still at that nice sharp angle. So let's maybe pull him aside. And then, I have a method that I've developed to using a goat here to make a specific Star Wars alien. So I want to do that. So I'll get those guys. And then, I kind of like, it's a little bit bigger. I kind of like the torso on this Batman. And I think those legs are also pretty good. They're a little thicker, aren't they? Maybe thicker, not as much. Let's maybe use him instead. But like, here's a How to Train Your Dragon guy, and another How to Train Your Dragon guy. I think that's actually the hero. This guy is somewhat tempting because he's already been chopped up a fair amount. My only real issue is that this leg is in full contact with that base, and that would be something to have to detail out somehow. So maybe he's a thought too. Let's go ahead and get this stuff moved away, and we'll start something with this goat head. So here's the goat figure we're going to choose for this. And then if you just kind of use a Star Wars Legion guy nearby, you can kind of see it's a good size. Now, I want to point out one thing. If you're going to try to do this, and I hope you do, there's an important detail about this goat. It's the legs. They're not too thick. So I've got this other goat that I was tempted to use, but those legs are chonky. Clearly it's supposed to be a younger goat. But this is better. So if you find yourself one like this, that's going to work. Now, we're going to chop those legs off. So let's get to that. I like this one. Set those aside. We will need those later. Now I'm going to take a look at the head here, and I think I can trim the horns just a hair. I think. Okay. And then we're just going to use a lighter. Just reshape them just a little bit. You missed all that because I pulled it out of frame. Sorry about that, folks. Just reshape those horns just a little bit down and back. Okay, and then so now we're going to grab one of the legs, and these were those back legs. Got that little bit more of a chunk of that leg. So we're going to go ahead and figure out how that's going to sit right on top of that existing eye, and we're going to trim it so it comes more or less straight out. And then so for right now, I need to trim yeah, that works pretty good.
Looks like it's time for the voiceover to start. We're just going to go ahead and fill that gap in there, and then plug on the other two legs onto the face here. Got those on, trimming this off. Don't need them too long, but we need them even facing forward. And it is time for everybody's favorite game show. Can you guess the alien? Sand those areas there. If you can guess the alien, give it down a comment down below. Let me see what you think. We're just going to use a little bit of a bead of super glue here to make those eyeballs. And you can't see too well there, but they're there. I'm going to start building the body out. Let's take that Batman apart. Chop off that goat head. So it takes a little bit of effort to line up that head, so I leave a little bit more on than needed to start with. I'm just going to slowly trim back until it's kind of got the posture you want. And so it's at this point that I'm going to go ahead and mention again that you're watching what I'm doing here. I'm showing you what I'm doing, so I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. If you have questions, if there's some part of this here that you'd like me to get you a detail on, ask a question below. I'd be more than happy to answer. I'm going to move forward with my city of Ashgate. This city, where it's at now, all those who had the money to leave after the Empire destroyed the economy of the planet and the mine up on the moon, this city just fell on its hard times. It's been there ever since the Empire left. Everybody with money has left. Everybody that could move on and get out and escape did. Everybody else, well, they're just trying to survive. Which isn't easy. There's no tourism anymore. The amount of ore being pulled out of the moon is pitiful. Not enough to keep this place going. However, when the Hutt came to town, he remembered the stories. He remembered the glory that Ashgate once was. He took it upon himself to start improving things. Problem being, even though he's trying to go straight, he does still behave like the gangster he was. So when things come around that seem to be a problem, he wants to solve them the same old way. And so that's where his protocol droid comes in. This protocol droid, it's a beautiful blue droid, and it's constantly reminding him, Master, we don't do things like that anymore. That's not the way civilized people behave. Master, we can't just eliminate our competition because we don't like them. Not anymore. And he's kind of the Jiminy Cricket for this Hutt. Doing the best job he can with his programming intact and the fact that he has to obey. He's doing what he can to keep this Hutt on the chosen path. That chosen path again being to try to restore Ashgate to some semblance of glory. So here we try to figure out a position, how you want to have that leg attached to the body. It's going to clearly dictate how it sits on that bike. And everything needs to be sandpapered to glue well and level out. That's gonna help make it sit nice and tight when I get that glue together. So the ore that came from the moon, it's a type of metal used in hulls of large starships. Now, it's actually part of what's needed for the composites in those metals. And this ingredient, it doesn't do terribly well in the atmosphere of the planet Ember. So there's this midway station, the Heaven Forge. When it was fully functional, it was a glorious place to be. It was kind of a midway point between the mine and the planet. This midway point was also a kind of docking for ships too large to land on the planet. Well, after the fall, after the shattering of the moon and the Empire leaving, this place is still that hub of transportation, but it's fallen on hard times. It's not maintained. There's just not the money for it. So as much as there's some function still necessary for the town and for the planet, it's like an abandoned railroad station. can see that it was amazing at one point, and that some still have that vision for it. And then there's the scum, the pickpockets, the shim-sham man, the con man. If you visit the Heaven Forge, maybe don't go alone. So you've seen me do this a couple times here in the video. We're taking this kind of baking soda and Insta Set mix. Sculpt's kind of like wet sand, but both of those things together, when super glue hits it, it instantly becomes hard. Just kind of sculpting a little belly on there and filling that gap. And see how he fits. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased. It's pretty happy how that all fits together. Alright, time to dress him up some. Let's go ahead and do some armor. I'm using fake nails for this here. Some are better than others for this. This kind of pink red one isn't that great. It kind of breaks on me in a weird way. But it still kind of makes a decent collar for this character. And then I have these clear ones. It's a little harder to see. I'm just kind of shaping that a little bit with a regular hole punch. But these ones are a better plastic. They're a little bit more like soda bottle than the other one. And I know it's difficult to see me gluing these pieces on there because they're clear. But I am making some matching kind of armor on this thing. I figured he is just as proud about his own look as he is his bike here, so he's got everything kind of matchy-matchy. The armor is just layered up more and more pieces of that fake nail. I think I picked up a box of them for $2, $3, and I have yet to run out of them. Now that armor is inspired by the old comic books and video games of the Old Republic. Quick little shot of spray paint on that. I use a little bit of silly putty as a painting mask to keep that head from getting all red too. So of course, to make red pop, you put down a white layer first. And since I'm not really that focused on painting this guy, I just wanted to do a kind of quick job. I use these Sharpie paint pens. Really nice. Pick up a set if you can. Kind of helps you lay down some color quickly here. Like the hard contrast between that red and the black. Just kind of quickly knocking in those eyes. Do you recognize this guy yet? You recognize what kind of alien he is? You figured it out. If you know what he is, comment below. Yeah, I think that's a pretty nice total package there. The red bike, the guy in red armor. I am super happy with how that looks. I'm just going to go ahead and tack him on now. Of course, tack on both hands. And pick up some of that extra glue. Nose and make a weird glomp. Yeah. Time to glue that body on. Let's go ahead and use the capillary effect and let it seep into where it's going to hold. And just a little dot will do ya. Hey guys, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'd appreciate it if you do that. Platform keeps changing, things like that matter. If you want to see me do more of these kinds of speeder bike things, please comment below. Subscribe, tell a friend, tell 2 friends.
Welcome to the Glamour Shots. Ain't he pretty? Pretty happy with how this thing turned out overall. Really happy about these stupid little pictures. Tell me what you think. Comment below. Blah, blah, blah. Have an amazing day.